Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Now I tried 3 weeks of protein sparing modified fasting and this is my experience. So firstly, you're probably sat there thinking, Molly, what the hell is protein sparing modified fasting? Now I thought this as well when I very first heard about it, and so let me explain it. Protein sparing modified fasting, also known as PSMF, is an effective and popular weight loss strategy. It's a highly restrictive diet that is only used in short term, and it's designed for high fat loss while preserving your muscle mass. So when it comes to it, basically lose fat quickly, keep muscle. Win-win. When it comes to PSMF, there are 3 main components, and let me tell you about them now. Number 1, high protein intake. Your protein intake wants to be between 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Having a diet focused on such a high amount of protein will help you preserve your muscle mass while being in such a high calorie deficit. Number 2, low fat, low carb. Pretty much zero. Like, you don't want any of this basically. This forces your body to use stored fat as energy. 3, a calorie deficit. There is a significant reduction in your calorie consumption, with your calories basically only coming from the protein that you're consuming. Typically, this will be anywhere between 600 to 1200 calories a day. So I've told you the components and you're probably still thinking, what the hell, Molly? Why have you done this? Let me just tell you how it works. Protein sparing modified fasting works by drastically cutting out your calories and your carbs. It forces your body to enter a state where it's using your fat stores as energy. But the high protein is there as a way to protect and preserve your muscle mass. While on this diet, you really want to make sure you are doing your resistance training to help further prevent any muscle breakdown. Now I really want to stress this is not a long-term diet. This is typically done 10 to 14 days maybe. It can go anywhere from a few days to a few weeks. Now I did it personally for 3 weeks. You can also cycle this. You can do 1 week on, 1 week off for a period of 4 to 6 weeks, or you can do a few weeks on, few weeks off, and cycle this as and when you're needed. You have these weeks off and these periods off as a way to refuel your body and to up your calories again, so that you're not getting into a state where your metabolism is going completely crazy. But remember, this is a diet, it's not a lifestyle, and you shouldn't be doing this for that excessively long a period of time. So I've told you what it is, but what did I do? So, like I've said, I did it for 3 weeks. Now I potentially ate too much while on this, not that I ate thousands of calories or anything like this, but a potential that I actually ate too much for my body weight. The first 2 weeks I was having a snack before the gym that was very high in protein, which is great. It was about 50 grams, 40 to 50 grams of protein, but that was ultimately kind of what was knocking me probably too high. The final week I didn't do this, but I was still constantly over potentially what was too much. But if you look at it in terms of 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body fat, I was closer to the 1.5 grams end of the spectrum. So if I was to do this again, maybe I should go closer to the 1, there might be a bigger result. But needless to say, there was still a great result after just 3 weeks. Across the 3 weeks, I averaged 1,056 calories a day. This broke down into 29 grams of carbs a day, 19 grams of fat a day, and 181 grams of protein a day. So like I say, I was having 40, 50 grams of protein, probably extra than I potentially should do. So if I was to do this again, I would probably drop that down if I could. But in the nature of my job, wanting to eat before work, during work, and then like after work, like there was still periods where I was hungry, which is good because it meant that my body wasn't adapting to it. But obviously it's also really hard because of how restrictive this diet is, it can become a little bit challenging. In terms of a breakdown for the macros, 71% of my calories was protein, 17% fat, and 11% carbs. The lowest calorie day I did have, I had 750 calories. The highest calorie day I had was 1,382 calories. You're probably now thinking, Molly, what the hell did you eat then? Because I'm eating nothing and a lot of protein. So I also put up the macro breakdowns for you of these meals, just to give you an idea of the sorts of things I was consuming and give you ideas if you are interested in doing this yourself. So for the first 2 weeks, this was my breakfast. Tuna salad. So in this great looking meal. We have salad, we have tuna, we have tomato, cucumber, and I actually use 0% Greek yogurt as a way to like add a bit of dressing in there, I suppose. You know how you normally have tuna mayo? Substitute your mayo for some 0% Greek yogurt, works fine, tastes fine. So like I'd said previously, I thought I needed to drop for that 3rd week. I was like, my protein has just been too high, I need to drop it, readjust what I'm having as my pre-workout snack, and ultimately I ended up having more egg whites in the 3rd week. And so my breakfast sometimes looked like this, egg whites and salad. There was also times that we do these, what we call sweet pancakes. They're like a sweet egg omelette-y pancake thing that I will probably do a video about at some point in the future. Either way, this, and it's basically just eggs and some yogurt with a few bits of cinnamon and nutmeg in there. That was also my breakfast for like the 3rd week. All 3 weeks, every day for work, this is what I ate. We have tuna, yogurt and cucumber as like the main course, and then the snack I would take some mange tout and cucumber. So yeah, so if you're looking for variety and interesting foods, don't do this diet. It wasn't too bad taking this to work. It would have been nice to have more food at work, in all honesty. Like I say, my job's physically active, so it would have been nice, but it was sufficient enough to get me through the day. Now dinner. Dinner. This is, whoa, this is where the meal of the day, you get your biggest meal of the day comes from. Basically, we mostly just had chicken, lean mince, occasionally we'd have lean pork loins, and then green veg. Simple as, and that's kind of all you've got to do. So here's a dinner in which we had, that was quite nice on the plate. We've got chicken, green beans, broccoli, asparagus, and some red pepper. Now I'm going to be honest, it was quite nice. No sauce. I mean, I was making for my boyfriend some passata on the side, so he actually had some sauce, but he was also enjoying and sharing the experience of at least the dinners with me. Here's another meal, some mince. Literally, we've got mince, green beans, broccolis, and then I actually made some zucchini, put it in the oven, and like little zucchini chips, which are quite nice actually. Here you go, here's a pork loin dinner. It's got pork loin, zucchini, some beetroot, mange tout, and green beans in there. This is the final meal we had of the PSMF. This we took down to the key. It's beef mince, broccoli, green beans, garlic, and some cucumber. Nothing that crazy, but we watched it with a view just before England went and lost the Euros final, if you're interested in what day that was. It was extremely quiet down there, but it was a lovely evening. So yeah, like I said, the food is very restrictive and it is very bland. The food did force me to experiment a little bit. Green beans in with the chicken and the beef. I mean, I used aubergines at one point, mixing that in with the mince. Like I say, these zucchini things. So there's definitely been highlights from this that we are actually carrying forward now that we're eating more normally again. So I did enjoy that part, that it was pushing my creativity in terms of food. As much as it was bland and very boring, it did push it, and that was great. There were a few times I did have some treats. Now, it is kind of important to treat yourself a little bit if you can. Only on occasion, just because mentally this is a very hard diet. These treats consisted of some frozen berries and like a cube of 90% dark chocolate. And there's not much more to say about that really. That's the extent the treat got. And I continued having my normal electrolyte creatine in the morning, along with our vitamins that we take daily. So I made track of some daily thoughts. What went through my mind on a few of the days while doing this diet. And I'm going to share this with you so that you can appreciate what it's like if you were to do this diet. Day one really started off fine. I hadn't really noticed much hunger difference. I managed to eat 200 grams of protein. Score, again, maybe too high. Fats, carbs were like below 20, around 20. And I was like, that's great. Day one is off to a good start. Now day two, it felt like it had been longer than day two. I mean, I started this at a very bad point. We had really hot weather for the first 3 days. So there was probably like a mix of heat exhaustion in there. I had like no sugar in my system, I had loads of protein, and I was drained. I was drained from the heat so much. And to be honest, like the gym session we had that day, the weights just felt heavier, but I was, in all honesty, I don't know whether this was from the diet, if it was from the heat, or we'd done Ninja Warrior at the weekend and I was still feeling it from that. So there was a few factors into play that all kind of built up on top, but my energy was definitely low. Day 5 days were done, that was good. And we had done 5 days of workouts, 5 days of work. The health kick was just on, we were doing very good. That day, cravings were starting to hit. I think where the restriction had been so high, I was just like, I'm wanting something sweet, I'm wanting bad food at this point. There's definitely a thing with this diet of you can't be snacky. There's not much you can snack on per se. There's nothing really proteiny that you can snack on. You can't even just grab a few berries and go, oh, I'll just have a few berries, it's healthy, it's fine. So it's definitely hard when it came to snacking. My energy at this point was also quite low and down. Again, it had also been a very hot week. So I think a lot of factors were all colliding together and it was like, great, this is a very big mental game happening right now. We've just got to push on through. Then we had weigh-in day, day 6. Now I didn't actually have a weigh-in from the week before. I was only able to compare for 2 weeks before, and I was pretty sure my week before was going to be higher than the 2 weeks before. Confusing, I know, is what it is. Anticipated for the weigh-in, I was like, okay, this is going to be very interesting to see what happens. I know there was going to be a lot of water weight from the weekend we just had because it had been a bad weekend anyway. And so weigh-in hit and it was slightly disappointing. There wasn't anything too crazy about it for this first weigh-in, and I'm like, I've done 5 days. Mentally, this is hell, my energy's gone. This is frustrating. But I had to remember it's only been 5 days. You've got to keep on going. By day 7, mood had increased, mood had gotten better, and I finally had my first treat, some dark chocolate and berries. Having done 7 completely non-cheated days, it was about time for a little treat. Day 11, everything is pretty much fine at this point. Strength in the gym has decreased. I think this is just going to be the general nature of the calorie deficit. There's not as much fuel in my body, but I was still pushing it to my max, and I was just interested to see how the weigh-in was going to go. Day 12, I just had a sudden hit where mood and energy just went, and I didn't really know why. All I can say is it's most likely from the restrictive nature of the diet. So after 12 days compared to 5 days, weight was down 1.7, body fat was down 0.8%, and muscle was down 0.1%. Personally, I thought this is not amazing, but it's moving completely in the right direction and we're going to keep on pushing through. And now I'm at this stage of, am I eating too much? I'm barely on 1,100 calories and I'm eating 180 to 190 grams of protein a day. What am I doing wrong? Because this isn't just falling off of me straight away. But again, I kept on pushing. By day 18, we've got 4 more days to go. Bittersweet, finally, but it's a final push. And I will say what I did notice, and I'd noticed it a few days prior, but I'd put it down to maybe I just wasn't bloated. But my weight belt that I use for the gym is definitely feeling looser, which is a very good indicator that I was losing weight, and it kind of is a nice little, there you go, there's something that's not the number on the scale, there's something physically that you can feel and fit and wear that is feeling different. Day 19 was a Friday. I was in a very, very controversial state of, do I continue this for 2 more days and make it a solid 3 weeks? Or do I do the weigh-in tomorrow morning and then stop tracking and eat normal? And I was going a very big dilemma through my head because at this point the restrictiveness of the diet was really getting to me, and mentally it's a very hard challenge. But you know what? I said no, 2 more days, make it 3 weeks, because I'll hate the fact that I never pushed it to the 3 weeks. And then the morning after, final weigh-in. Final weigh-in was slightly higher in terms of percentages compared to the Saturday morning weigh-in. Body weight was down by 0.1. There wasn't much difference. Either way, by the final weigh-in, by Monday morning, I looked like this. This is the results of 3 weeks of protein-sparing modified fasting. And I am happy with them. I am happy with the results. I'm happy with how I looked. And I'm glad that I did it, and I'm glad I pushed through and did it clean, and it was a really good way to force us to eat very, very clean for 3 weeks. Now, it is very restrictive, and I will say that that is probably one of the hardest parts of it, is the restrictive nature of it. This diet is definitely a very big mental battle, as well as like physically. I didn't find really eating the food or training anything different. Like I say, my strength in the gym definitely went down, but that is understandable due to the lack of calories. There was occasions where the energy and the mood levels just went, and you know, you just sort of got to push on through it. And then the mental side of a very limited factor of foods that you can eat, and when you go, oh, what food can I eat, and you're like, I can't have anything, or oh, I can only have this and I can only have that, it becomes quite hard, because it wasn't just like a normal, like, oh yeah, let's get some meat and veg for lunch. Oh no, it's got to be a lean veg, it's got to be a green, low calorie, low fat, low carb veg. So mentally it became a very big battle, and that is like one of my main takeaways from that. Either way, like I say, I'm very happy with the results. What's next? So at the moment I'm literally like a week into just eating like normal. I've tracked probably for like most of this year, so it's really nice to not be tracking any calories at all and just eating clean whole foods. So my camera battery just died, but I'm nearly wrapping up the video anyway, so I thought I'd jump on my phone. But yeah, we're gonna tone up, maintain, build muscle, get a little bit stronger again, because some of the strength has dropped over these past few weeks. If you do want to try it, give it a go. Be sensible though. Don't do it any longer than 4 weeks, I'd say. Try it for a week, see how you go, cycle it, do some of your own research into it. I'll put a link below to Thomas DeLauer's video about this. It was probably quite scientific, but that's the video I'd seen initially before I gave this a go. I'm happy with the results. My weight went down, my body fat went down, muscle stayed pretty much the same. So stats wise, everything was great. So if you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below anything you want to see, or if you're going to try it yourself, make sure to hit that subscribe button, join the Dino Squad, and I'll see you later. Bye. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, the morning after, eggs and yogurt never tasted so good.